Hello, my dear children. Today we are going to do Class 12th Book Vistas, Chapter number 2, The Tiger King by Kalki. We are going to do a summary and explanation of the chapter, beginning with our introduction about the author. Kalki is the name that's given in the chapter, but his full name was Ramaswamy Iyer Krishnamurthy and popularly known as Kalki. And he was a Tamil writer, a journalist, poet, critic, and Indian independence activist as well. His writings includes 120 short stories and 10 novels. The government of Tamil Nadu has issued stamps in honor of Kalki, and he died at the age of 54. The story begins like His Highness Jamedar General Khiledar Major Satyagrah Samahari Maharaja Dhiraj Vishwabhuvan Samrat Sir Jilani Jung Jung Bahadur MAD ACTC or CRCK or popularly known as the Tiger King. When the Tiger King was born, the astrologer was called and he made a prediction. He said, the child will grow up to become the warrior of warriors, hero of heroes, champion of champions. But he stopped. He did not say anything. And at that very moment, a great miracle took place. An astonishing phrase emerged from the lips of the 10 days old Jilani Jung Jung Bahadur. That means that small child, that infant who was just 10 days old, he started speaking. He said, this is a secret. He asked the astrologer that what was that thing that he did not want to convey. The astrologer said that this is a secret which should not be revealed at all, and yet we are forced to speak it out. The child born under this star will one day have to meet its death. When the child began to speak, everyone stood transfixed in stupefaction. The child said, O wise prophets, it was I who spoke. All those are born will one day have to die. So the child said that we don't need your predictions to know that. We all know that who is born has to die. There would be some sense in the predictions of the astrologers if he could tell the manner of that death. Everyone stood transfixed in stupefaction. They looked wildly at each other and blinked. It was the infant born just 10 days ago who had enunciated the words so clearly. Everyone was surprised. How could a child of 10 days speak such wisdom words? The chief astrologer placed his finger on his nose in wonder. A baby, barely 10 days old, he not only opens its lips in speech, but he also raises intelligent questions. That is incredible. None of the people could believe what they saw. The astrologer said, the prince was born in the hour of the bull. The bull and the tiger are enemies. Therefore, death comes from the tiger, the astrologer predicted. So that means the reason for the death of the young prince would be a tiger. And you must have imagined that the young prince would have been thrown into a quake. He would have been scared when he heard the word tiger. But that did not happen. What happened was the opposite. As soon as the 10 days old prince heard the word tiger pronounced, the crown prince gave a deep growl. Terrifying words emerged from his lips. Let tigers beware. When he grew up, the boy drank the milk of an English cow, was brought up by an English nanny, he was tutored in English by an Englishman, saw nothing but English films, exactly as the crown princes of all the other states did. It was so because at that time our country was under the British rule, and most of the royal kings were under the rules of the Britishers. So, in order to retain their kingdoms, they had to follow the British culture. So, that is why all the upbringing of the young prince was done in a totally English manner. When the prince was growing up, no other any incident that was miraculous took place, but he grew up in a total English style, drank the milk of an English cow, was brought up by an English nanny, watched only English movies, and was tutored in English by an English teacher. But when he came of age at 20, the state, which had been with the court of wards until then, came into his hands. That means he must have lost his parents by then, and when he became 20 years old, his kingdom shifted to his hands, which was until now taken care of by a team of trustees. But everyone in the kingdom remembered the astrologer's prediction. Many continued to discuss the matter. Slowly, it came to the Maharaja's ears because the young child had forgotten everything about it. When he grew up and people started talking that he might die very soon, these rumors reached his ears. Rather than rumors, these were matters of discussion among the general people. The Maharaja started out on a tiger hunt when he heard this news. The Maharaja was very brave. He was so proud of his skill, and he was thrilled beyond measure when he killed his first tiger. But the secret was still to be unrevealed. When the Maharaja killed the first tiger, he thought that the task was done, over. But when he killed the tiger, he sent for the street astrologer and showed him the dead beast. What do you say now? He demanded. I have killed the one beast. I have killed one tiger and I'm still alive. I'm not dead. So he wanted to say that the astrologer's prediction was fake. But the astrologer said, Your Majesty may kill 99 tigers in exactly the same manner. But, but, then he again stopped. The astrologer drawled. He was afraid to speak. The king said, But what? Speak without fear. The astrologer said, But you must be very careful with the 100th tiger. When the king heard this, the state banned tiger hunting by anyone except the Maharaja. A proclamation was issued to the effect that if anyone dared to fling so much as a stone at a tiger, all his wealth and property would be confiscated. That no one except the Maharaja had the right to kill, to hurt a tiger, and if anyone apart from the king would even fling a stone at a tiger, all his wealth and property would be taken over by the state. The Maharaja vowed that he would attend to all other matters only after killing the 100 tigers. He swore that once he will be finishing with the 100 tigers, only then he will look into other matters. Then the Maharaja started on his hunt. He was very, very brave, and not that he faced no dangers. There were times when the bullet missed its mark, the tiger leapt upon him, and he fought the beast with bare hands. But each time it was the Maharaja who won. The Maharaja was very strong and powerful, and sometimes he fought the beast even without any help of any weapons or his subordinates. But suddenly, an unforeseen trouble came up. A high ranking British officer visited Pratibandhapuram. He was very fond of hunting tigers and fonder of being photographed with the tigers he had shot. As usual, he wished to hunt the tigers in Pratibandhapuram, but Maharaja was firm in his resolve. He said he refused permission. Apart from the Maharaja, nobody else would be given the permission to hurt or kill or hunt any tiger. Because the officer was a British man, the king might be in danger of losing his kingdom. The Maharaja offered that he could organize any other hunt. He said, "You may go on a boar hunt, you may conduct a mouse hunt." He was ready for a mosquito hunt. A tiger hunt? That was impossible. The British officer's secretary sent word to the Maharaja through the Diwan that the Durai himself did not have to kill the tiger. Durai is the designation of the British officer. The British officer said that Maharaja could kill the tiger himself. He doesn't want to do the actual killing. What was important was that he just wanted to have his photograph holding the gun and standing beside the tiger's carcass. He just wanted a photograph. But the Maharaja would not agree even to this proposal. If Maharaja relented, gave permission to the British officer, then what would he do if other British officers turned up for tiger hunts? He will have to give permission to others also. Because he prevented a British officer from fulfilling his desire, the Maharaja stood in danger of losing his kingdom. In order to save his kingdom, the Maharaja thought of a plan. He and the Diwan held deliberations over this issue. They discussed it at length. As a result, they thought of a plan, and a telegram was sent forthwith to a famous British company of jewelers in Calcutta. The message in the telegram was, "Send samples of expensive diamond rings of different designs." And some 50 rings arrived. The Maharaja sent all the diamond rings to the British officer's wife, the British officer's good lady. The king and the minister expected that the Durai Sani, or the British officer's wife, would choose one or two rings and send the rest back. But he received a shock. They received a note from the Durai Sani within no time, and she had sent a reply, "Thank you very much for your gifts. These gifts are amazing, incredibly breathtaking. I'm so grateful. Thank you." In 2 days, a bill for 3 lakh of rupees came from the British jewelers. She kept all the 50 diamond rings, and the Maharaja had to pay a huge bill of 3 lakh of rupees to the jewelers company. But even still, the Maharaja was happy that though he had lost 3 lakh of rupees, but he had managed to retain his kingdom. Then another problem arrived. The tiger population was getting lesser. The king called the Diwan and told him, he said, "Diwan Sahib, aren't you aware of the fact that 30 tigers still remain to be shot down by this gun of mine?" And he ordered him to draw up statistics or data of tiger populations in the different nearby states. Then he said, "You may investigate if there is a girl that the king could marry in the royal family of a state with a large tiger population." So the king was so obsessed with the killing of 100 tigers that he even wanted to marry a girl only from that state where the tiger population would be quite enough to fulfill his vow. The Diwan followed the orders of the king, and he found a right girl from a nearby state which had a large number of tiger population. And whenever Maharaja went to his in-laws' place, he killed 5 or 6 tigers each time. In this manner, 99 tiger skins adorned the walls of the reception hall in the Pratibandhapuram palace. But the Maharaja's anxiety reached a fever pitch when only one tiger remained to complete his number of 100. He had this one thought only during the day and the same dream at the night always. But this time the tiger farms had run dry, even in his father-in-law's kingdom. No tiger could be found anywhere. It was impossible to locate tigers anywhere. Yet only one more was needed, only one. If he could kill just that one single beast, then the Maharaja would have no fears left. He would give up tiger hunting altogether if he could kill one more tiger to reach the number 100. Soon a fake news came which dispelled the gloom, and in his own state, sheep began to disappear frequently from a hillside village. The villagers ran to inform the Maharaja the disappearance of their sheep, their cows, their goats. It meant that some tiger was at work. The Maharaja was thrilled. He announced a 3-year exemption from all taxes from that village, and he set out on the hunt at once, happily and very excited. But the tiger was not easily found. The Maharaja was equally determined. He refused to leave the forest until the tiger was found, and the days passed and passed on. The Maharaja's fury and his obstinacy mounted alarmingly. Many officers lost their jobs. One day, when his rage was at its height, he realized the news was fake, and in his anger, he called the Diwan and ordered him to double the land tax. The Diwan went home convinced that if he did not find the tiger soon, the results would be catastrophic for the Diwan himself. He felt life returning to him only when he saw the tiger which had been brought from the People's Park in Madras and kept hidden in his house. That means to save himself from the fury of the king, the Diwan had secretly brought a tiger from a zoo in Madras and had hidden it in his own house. At midnight, when all the people in the town were slept, the Diwan and his aged wife they dragged the tiger to the car and shoved it into the seat forcefully. The Diwan himself drove the car straight to the forest where the Maharaja was hunting. That means near the hunting place where the Maharaja had pitched his tents. When they reached the forest, the tiger launched his satyagrah, and he refused to get out of the car. The Diwan was thoroughly exhausted in his efforts to haul the beast out of the car and push it down to the ground. Means with great efforts, they had to force the tiger to please come out of the car. When the Maharaja heard of the tiger, he was very elated. It was with boundless joy that the Maharaja took careful aim at the beast, and the tiger fell in a crumpled heap. I have killed the 100th tiger. My vow has been fulfilled. The Maharaja was overcome with elation. Ordering the tiger to be brought to the capital in grand procession, the Maharaja hastened away in his car happily that now a great stress had been relieved of his mind. After the Maharaja left, the hunters went to take a closer look at the tiger because the king had ordered them to take the tiger's procession in the town. So they had to pick the tiger up. When they went close to the tiger, they saw that the tiger looked back at them. The men realized that the tiger was not dead. He had just fainted from the shock of the bullet passing it. The bullet had missed the mark. And the hunters wondered what they should do. If they would tell the Maharaja that he has missed his target, they could lose their jobs. And one of the hunters took aim from a distance and shot the tiger themselves. This time, the hunter killed it without missing his mark. So that means the 100th tiger was not killed by the king, he was killed by the hunter. Few days later, the Maharaja's son's third birthday was celebrated. And now the king turned all his attention to his child, whom he had not been paying attention to for the 3 years. He wished to give him some special gift on his birthday. And what could be the most important and special gift than a wooden tiger, toy tiger? He went to the shopping center and spotted a wooden tiger in a toy shop and decided that it was a perfect gift. The wooden tiger cost only 2 annas and a quarter. But the shopkeeper said that this is an extremely rare example of craftsmanship, a bargain at 300 rupees. The Maharaja was also very clever. He said, "Let this be your offering to the crown prince on his birthday," and he did not even pay 2 annas and a quarter. On that day, father and son played with that tiny little wooden tiger. The toy tiger was carved by an unskilled carpenter. Its surface was rough. Tiny slivers, tiny piercing slivers of wood stood up like quills all over it. And one of those slivers pierced the Maharaja's right hand. The Maharaja's hand was pricked. The next day, the infection spread up in the Maharaja's right hand, and in 4 days, it developed into a separating sore which spread all over the arm. Three famous surgeons were brought in from Madras to operate upon the king. After holding a consultation, they decided to operate, and they operated. The surgeons who performed it came out of the operation theatre and they said, "The operation is successful. The Maharaja is dead." And in this manner, the 100th tiger took its final revenge upon the Tiger King. The moral of the story is that poaching and hunting is the major reason why tigers are on the verge of extinction. Not only this, the story also forces us to think upon that people who are in power use it mindlessly. The king was in power, and due to his rage, due to his obstinacy, due to his stubbornness, poor animals had to die. When the astrologer said the Maharaja should be careful with the 100th tiger, if he would not have reached the 100th one, he would not have died. There is pun in the story also. It starts from the name of the state itself, Pratibandhapuram, and Pratibandh means banned. Something that was banned, it should not have been done. Tiger hunting is banned and it should not be performed. Mindless thinking, power and the rules and the obstinacy, the stubbornness, the rage, the anxiety, and overconfidence of the king led him to his death. It also talks about the astrologer's part. The astrology, the prediction that was made by the astrologers in the beginning proved to be true, but not because of any superstition, not because of anything involved in the astrology, but it was because of the king himself. In the end, we can say that the one who was responsible for the king's death was not the tiger, not the astrologer, but the king himself. Thank you very much.